Welcome back to the VST channel, guys. Van Speaks Tech. This here is the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, and in this video I'm going to give you my review, which is based on actual usage more than 1 month, guys. I have this protocol. Every time I get a new device, I put my SIM card, I really use it. Sometimes if I like the device, I keep it. Most of the times I'm ending up selling those devices and just going back to my primary device. But in this case, guys, this is a phone to keep. I've been using it since more than 1 month, and in this video you're going to understand the good, the bad and the ugly. Alright, let's start. And if you like honest reviews without being scripted and read to you from an anchor, then you might as well want to sub for the channel and check some of my other footage. Also, please know that I have a lot of detailed Xiaomi 13 Ultra review on the camera, daylight, low light, photos, videos, comparison against other phones, so you might want to dive deep into that, but now enjoy this full review. The first thing I'm going to start is the build quality. This here is the design of the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, and as you can expect, it's really spectacular. There are many other phones using the same circular camera setup, but there is something that is very unique in the camera setup of the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. This is the fact that it has 4 cameras and not 3. It has 4 standalone cameras. The first one, of course, is powered by the Sony IMX989. It has the 1-inch sensor, and it has 3 other cameras: the ultra wide, but also a 3.x zoom and a dedicated 5x zoom camera, which really gives you the sweet spot going from 12mm, which is the ultra wide, to 23mm focal equivalent, which is the main camera, up to 120mm when you're using 5x zoom. Now you can go up to 120 while digitally zooming, but we all know that's not the best that you can do. Hence, still, this camera is one of the best cameras you can get in a smartphone, and I'm going to get into more details very soon. Now, you can see that Xiaomi decided to go with this material they called man-made leather, something like this. It resembles somehow the grip of a real camera. It should be also antibacterial whatsoever. And I can tell you on the first glance it's a bit weird, coming also from the Oppo Find X6 Pro with the faux leather, and also from the very clean look of the Galaxy S23 Ultra. I was a bit puzzled when I started to use this, but take a look at this, guys. It has a very nice grip. This here is said to be very durable, and Xiaomi claims that it's gonna last for a lot of years to be used. When you're spending that much amount of money, something like 1,500 euro, which the global version will cost, you want to get a phone that will work for years, at least for 3 years. Speaking about other design choices, you can see the screen is also curved, which I like. I'm a fan of curved screens, and I know that's somehow dramatic for a lot of people because of gestures. The design of the phone is quite unique. It is large, it is big, but it's not so heavy compared to its main competitors. We have here the front camera. On the top of this phone you're gonna find an IR blaster, also some in holes for the mix, and the speaker is also here. On the back you find the SIM card slot, the USB-C port, and also the speakers. And guys, this time, for the very first time, Xiaomi abandoned the USB 2 at the bottom port, and now you get a proper USB 3.2, which guarantees quick, faster connections when you are downloading your huge images and huge files. And believe me, if you are buying this phone, which is more like a camera, then you're probably gonna need it. So this is something I want to say straight. Xiaomi finally broke from this curse, so this is one good point. But there is something else that I need to address, which is still a problem for some people, not for me. But the front camera, guys, is only limited at 1080p, which is actually a bit sad, specifically for the people that are leaning more towards video creation, vlogging, Instagram, whatsoever. But let's be honest, guys, if you're buying a phone with this camera, or let's say a camera with this phone, then you most probably will never use the front camera if you're a real photographer, right? Speaking about ergonomy, guys, this is going to get you going. I have a rather big hand, and as you can just see, I'm able to access the power button and the volume rocker with one finger. All of the buttons are placed conveniently on the right hand side of the phone, and here you have a very clean left side. And also I like the way that it's sharp cutout. On the front you're gonna also find the Gorilla Glass Victus One, so this phone will really get you going with the latest protection. The SIM card slot also has isolation, it has a rubber there, which means that you're getting also a proper IP68. When you're shooting your photos or videos into the rain, you will know your phone will handle it. Now, of course, this means that you should not really swim with the phone, right? But IP68 is there and is fully certified. Now let's move with the display, guys. This is the Xiaomi 13 Ultra at the max brightness, which is advertised of being 2600. Now, I didn't really manage to get even anywhere close, and even comparing it with my Oppo Find X6 Pro that I used to own, the Oppo Find X6 Pro was significantly brighter. But this doesn't really mean that this phone has a bad screen. It has the WQHD resolution, it can go down to 1 Hz, it has dynamic refresh rate, you can use it at 120 Hz, and it has one main advantage compared to the Oppo. 120 Hz refresh rate works in most of the applications, and in the Oppo sadly it wasn't like that. Like for example, the YouTube Studio client was only limited at 60 Hz, which was kind of breaking the whole experience. The colors are very vivid, you can enjoy HDR content, the display is Dolby Vision HDR10+. You can also watch Netflix, it has the Widevine L1 certification. So in terms of display experience, you'll get nothing but just the best out of the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. I don't have anything to complain with the screen. It has also a 240 Hz touch sampling rate, which means it's very responsive. You can try to play your games, you're gonna get this good experience. And something very important, this screen supports 1920 Hz PVM dimming, which means that when you use it, guys, in very bright conditions and also during the night in very low conditions, you're not likely to experience any flickering issues, the ones that I experienced with my Pixel 7a, and you can watch my video here. The color reproduction is also very nice. You can choose from an original one, a pro one, a vivid one, a saturated one. The original one will get you very close to this sRGB, and that's measured on a lot of sites. You can just try to search online for this. So you're getting here a proper display. Now let's cover the performance and the battery, because they are very much linked together. Now you know what drives the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, and this is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Well, this is a very effective and very efficient chip compared to the 8 Gen 1. Let me elaborate and explain a bit. So it's really powerful. It gives you 40% more boost on the CPU and the GPU, guys. All my testing in Wildlife 3D Market stream were giving a very consistent result. Now, why do I say that it's also very efficient, guys? Because imagine if you have something that is very powerful, but it only runs for 1 hour, 2 hours, and then your phone dies. Well, yeah, you get the point. The 8 Gen 2 manages to use all that power, guys, but still give you enough battery juice. Now let me address some concerns. On the positive side, the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, as I said, is very stable in all the benchmarks. And even if you play very heavy, intensive graphic games like the Genshin Impact, guys, you're gonna get still that sweet performance, 50 to 60 FPS. But there is one problem, and this problem is with the heat. Now, I call this phone unhinged, and sometimes it can go 48 to 50 degrees Celsius. Xiaomi claims to have implemented something called the ice loop, which really helps with heat dissipation, but there are some areas of the phone that get really very hot. Honestly, this is not a concern with me. Until the phone works and doesn't break, that's okay. Right? It is able to get these very strong results in all the benchmarks, like your Wildlife Extreme from 3D Mark, like the Geekbench, and also very stable performance in gaming. But the good thing here is that the battery will also hold up very good. This is the other very strong side of using an 8 Gen 2 phone, guys. I do get a lot of queries around the screen on time, and I can only tell you guys, with 500 mAh, you're getting a 1-day battery, and this, guys, all what matters. Let me explain. I'm a typical user that goes outside, do some work, use MS Teams, Outlook, then also do social like YouTube, Twitter, Telegram. Also, of course, very heavy camera user, and I'm able to get out with this phone in my hand in the morning and get back at home at 5 or 6 p.m. and even have some battery left. So this is really amazing. I have the same experience on the Galaxy S23 Ultra, and I have had the same experience with using the Oppo Find X6 Pro, and I do believe that the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is instrumental to get there. Now, there are some caveats, guys. Again, heat is the enemy, and sometimes this phone really tends to work in an overheated mode. But I did a video shooting 4K 60 FPS for more than 1 hour on this phone without having it drop the video. I did the same test with the S23 Ultra, so overall with the performance I'm very happy. The Xiaomi 13 Ultra also has some very nice tricks inside the sleeve. When the phone gets to 0%, usually all phones die, but the Xiaomi 13 Ultra will not die. It will hibernate, and it will get you technically another 20, 40 to 50 minutes of use. Now, how is Xiaomi doing this? Are they cheating with the battery? it might be. But the most important thing, guys, is when you get to 0%, you still know you have a phone. Just imagine the iPhone. iPhones are very much known to last a lot when just left with 1% of a battery, so I can say this is somehow the same experience. You have the ultra battery saver, you have also a performance profile, you can do a lot of tweaks. If I have to recap the performance and the battery, I can only say that they are great. And speaking about battery, guys, this phone comes with a 90 watts wired charger. In fact, I got so much used to this, when I switched back to the Pixel 7a, which only have 18, I only used it for 3 days, and that was enough. I switched back to the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. The S23 Ultra S45, which is still acceptable, but anything else, guys, is just not so usable for me using the Xiaomi 13 Ultra or the Oppo Find X6, which even had 100 watts wired charging. It can also do 50 watts wireless charging, guys, and you can also use reverse wireless charging with a rather nice speed of almost 18 watts, which I think is simply great. Xiaomi implemented Game Turbo, which allows you to control a lot of the phone's resources to optimize your game experience, and also you can cast games on external screens. The only remark that I have is that, again, like many other Chinese brands, Xiaomi either didn't work with the major game manufacturers, but most of the games are only locked to 60 FPS, and you cannot really get 120 FPS, which is really very sad because we know that the hardware is capable. For example, the Genshin Impact running on my iPhone 14 Pro can go up to 120 FPS. Sadly, here we are only limited to 60 FPS. Now, this will not cripple your game experience, but if you are looking for a gaming phone, you might want to pass or skip the Xiaomi 13 because all the power of this phone is actually here on the back, and that's all about the cameras. One very important part for me using my phones is to be able to work with things like the MS Teams, like Outlook, backend applications, and that's a Chinese phone, so I do get a lot of questions. Is that working? Is this working? Initially, I thought that I had some issues with MS Teams, but they were resolved when I updated to the latest version. So right now, I'm not experiencing any issues whatsoever. Even things like the Google Wallet, Google Pay, the X1, is working quite well. Speaking about Google services were integrated directly, guys, so you just need to download the APK or the Google Play Store application and then just log in with your Google account and everything is going to be there. I know though that there is this limitation, Android Auto and this type of phones doesn't work. So if you have Android Auto in your car, you're lucky, you're driving a new car, that's not gonna work. Everything else, guys, work, and MIUI 14 feels just okay. The privacy controls are there. They are very strict, by the way. Even I have a feeling that the Chinese version of MIUI is even more secure than the global versions of MIUI that I've used in the past. Still, there are some things that I don't like. There is still a lot of Chinese things inside, but most of them are easily removable, right? So guys, you can just go there, check it, remove it. Also, you can unlock the bootloader and you can install the global ROM on the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, and even the global Xiaomi 13 Ultra is still not released. Plus, you can also go and decide to install the Xiaomi U, which is a very nice combination of everything great in the MIUI world. So, what I'm saying is, there are plenty of options, and this was also one of my reasons to choose the Xiaomi 13 Ultra over the Oppo Find X6 Pro. I got the Oppo Find X6 Pro, guys, and I sold it. A lot of the questions that I get is like, okay, why did you decide to sell the Oppo Find X6 Pro and go with the Xiaomi 13 Ultra? And of course, things like global availability means bigger community, means more people doing stuff with Google camera, which is really amazing, and it takes this camera hardware to the next level. But one of the main reasons for me, guys, was not this. It was really the camera setup. Now we have to understand there are some compromises to be made. The main shooter on the Xiaomi 13 Ultra is the 1-inch sensor using Sony IMX989, and it also has, guys, this double aperture. So you can see right now I went from f4.0, guys, from a smaller f-stop to f1.9 to a bigger one, allowing more control on the depth of field and allowing you to shoot close objects really with a very sharp focus. Now that's something that is not available on the Oppo, but I don't think that this really would have changed my mind. The thing that changed my mind is the additional 5x optical zoom camera. But as I said, guys, there are some compromises to be made. Why? Because all these cameras here are using 50 megapixels. They're using the quad bare technology, which means pixel binning 4:1. All the pictures, when shot not in RAW, will result in 12.5 megapixels, guys.
But the sensors, all three other sensors, guys, are using the Sony IMX858, which are a bit smaller than the ultra-wide and the optical zoom sensors used on the Oppo Find X6 Pro. But on the Oppo Find X6 Pro, guys, you're only getting the main sensor, right, and just the ultra-wide and the zoom. So if you want to go for a more versatile hardware optical zoom setup, guys, the Xiaomi 13 Ultra will be your choice. On top of this, global availability, which will eventually result into a growing community, which means more people doing mods, doing ROMs, working for the Gcam scene. So I think the trade-off is quite fair, and this was really driving my decision to sell the Oppo Find X6 Pro and stay with the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. I do believe that this camera really is one of the greatest I've seen on the phone. Same can be said for the Oppo Find X6 Pro, guys. They all have their perks, their pros and their cons. Same can be said also for the S23 Ultra, but let's now talk about the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, because the main star is actually the camera on the back. A lot of the reviews out there are saying that this is not a phone, that that's a camera, you know, with a phone attached, which is not a very new concept, guys. We had it back in the days with the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom, also with the Nokia Lumia series, which introduced RAW image capturing for the first time. So I don't want to say that's a camera, you know, with a phone attached to it. It's not about the camera alone, it's you, right? It's us behind these devices. So these things here are just tools that can help us, you know, become better photographers. But you cannot really expect any wonders, guys. So you need to know what you're doing, you need to adapt a learning curve, and you need to try to use it every day and just get better with it. The camera has been co-engineered with Leica, the German photography makers, and it uses the Summicron lens. And now, guys, let's start the camera review. The camera application on the Xiaomi 13 Ultra is nothing new to us, because we've seen Xiaomi collaborating with Leica on other phones. We also have the Xiaomi 13 Pro, which has a similar setup, guys. So basically, it is a very advanced stock camera application that has a lot of auto modes, but is also equipped with a Pro mode that will allow you to go a bit more custom, change things like ISO, aperture speed, white balance, focus manually, and of course shoot RAW and ultra RAW photos, daylight photos, guys. What is important for a top spec flagship camera performance? For me, one of the top things is to be able to shoot from all the lenses and still get the very same feeling, color reproduction from the scene. What do I have in mind? So take a look at the samples, guys. From the ultra wide to the wide camera to the optical zoom cameras to the digital zoom, I want to get the same feeling from all of my photos, so that I don't have to eventually manually edit them. Now, I know that the pro guys out there are only using pro cameras, but if you are more like me, you have a lot of kids moving around, you have a lot of pets, you have a lot of phones to test, you want to have a very good stock auto experience. Now, auto experience, of course, will never get you the greatness of the pro manual experience, but it's very important because this gives us a very nice indication how well one brand, in this case Xiaomi, together with Leica, did it. It's all about the color science, it's all about the color toning, and it's all about the end footage that you're getting out of it. So what else do we want from a camera? We want our kids to be jumping, our pets to be running, and we to be taking these shots, stopping things in time. You can do this with the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, guys. The shutter speed is quite nice, even better than what we've seen, for example, on the S23 Ultra, which is plagued by shutter speed issues, although Samsung tried to implement 1000 things to somehow improve it. Daylight photos, guys, are just phenomenal. They're just amazing. And by the way, I've done a lot of videos comparing the Xiaomi 13 Ultra camera with the iPhone's camera, with the Samsung camera, with the Oppo camera, so you can go and watch all of my dedicated camera content. But for this full review, I will just have to say that you can rely on this camera and it will not let you down. Things that used to plague Xiaomi phones in the past, like HDR problems whatsoever, are now almost fixed when you're shooting with the back camera. And it's also important to understand something else. The same applies to the video quality. Android in general is still not at the video quality level of the iPhone, sadly I have to say, but brands like Xiaomi and Samsung, specifically Samsung, are really taking things up to the next level. So the day pictures will come out very clear, very sharp, properly exposed. You're gonna get all the highlights and shadows right where you want them to be, without something to be crushed or overblown. You're gonna get in general a nice footage. And I want to also praise the stock portrait mode. It allows you to shoot with these different modes like bokeh, roll effect, documentary, which is actually allowing you to take portrait shots from the main sensor with a crop or portrait shots from the 3.x optical zoom camera, allowing you to get a full body portrait or just focus on the face, allowing you to really go very much creative into the composition of your shot. In general, we're gonna get two main modes: the Leica Authentic, which is the one that I'm shooting with, which means more natural colors, and also the Leica Vibrant will get you a bit more pop in the color, a bit more over-saturated colors. But I want to say something else. There are some very nice filters pre-built, like the Leica Black and White, the Leica Sepia, and I really am finding joy of using them. So for the first time in many years, I'm using this very modern smartphone to shoot pictures in black and white because they just look phenomenal. Night mode and auto night mode are also there, so you're getting some very nice footage when using it. My only complaint to this day right now is that I don't find any big difference when I'm using the auto night mode when shooting with the stock camera, with the auto mode, or when I'm shooting with the dedicated night mode. So I want a bit more control in the night mode. But eventually we have to think about this. Xiaomi didn't really want to push it to the limits where you're shooting some things in the night and they appear just like in a broad day. No, because that's really AI and that's no real photography. So that might be the reason why the night mode is a bit toned down, and you're getting things shot with 2 or 3 seconds of exposure. For the same shot on my S23 Ultra, guys, with the smallest sensor, I'm using something like 6 to 9 seconds. What does this mean? That the Sony IMX989 1-inch sensor, guys, will allow you to capture more light very quickly, guys, which means steady shots, no blur, and focused, which is actually very important. Now let's speak about the video for a moment. You can shoot up to 8K 24 FPS, guys, and not only on the main camera but actually on all cameras. Now 24 FPS will of course still be choppy, but that's right now the phone that can do this, because even the Galaxy S23 Ultra can do 8K 30 only on the main lens. Something else that is very important, guys, you need to know that if you're using the stock camera, you're gonna get bitrate up to 60 megabits per second, which is a bit strange because for 4K 60 you might as well want to go up to 100, but there are so many custom cameras like the MC24 Pro, like the open camera. You can also, guys, use motion cam to shoot raw video, and that's insane. So technically this phone is open and you can customize it, use it with third-party tools. But if you want to stay stock, guys, I need to mention something very important. Check the audio stream, guys. It's 320 kilobits. Even the most expensive Xiaomi flagship phones were using crappy bit rates. Finally, this has been fixed. You can also shoot 4K 60 FPS Dolby Vision without limitations, like I had on the Xiaomi 13, where you were limited only to 6 minutes. The video footage will come out quite nice. The stabilization is very good. It's not, of course, like the one used on the S23 Ultra, but the video specifically for me was better than the one I shot on my Oppo Find X6 Pro. And as a video creator, this was also one of the reasons for me to let the Oppo go and keep the Xiaomi. So remember, 8K 24 FPS on all the lenses, guys, 4K 60 FPS Dolby Vision all the time. You're gonna get a nice stabilization, you're gonna get very nice colors. Low light video is also insane. Please check my full camera review where I put a lot of focus on video in day and also in low light and in extreme low light. And in these videos, guys, I'm doing a 4K 30 test, going from the ultra wide to the main sensor, zooming in all the way up to 5x and above, and just shooting in extreme very low light conditions to show you the power when I'm switching between the ultra wide to the main 1-inch sensor, or from the 1-inch sensor to the smaller optical sensors, the Sony IMX858. This really is the power of the 1-inch sensor. It really allows you to capture more light. So please allow me to recap. The photos, both day and night, the portraits, the videos that you're gonna get from the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, being with the ultra wide or with the main camera or with the zoom cameras, are excellent. Dynamic range is quite spot on. Color rendition is nice too. And those are the good things. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. There are also some things that I don't like, and I'm gonna share this with them as this is my full honest review with you. But the images are genuinely sharp even when shot on the 2x and 5x optical zoom. And zoom cameras are really important for me. The moment I started to use them in my S-series phones, guys, 3 days only with my Pixel 7a showed to me that I no longer can take a phone out in my hand, in my pocket, without a zoom camera. Specifically when you have small kids running around, or when you like to do hobby amateur photography, like in my case. I also bought an 18 years old Canon 5D Final Cut. I also bought an 18 years old Canon EOS 5D DSLR, guys, full frame, to be able to compare it with the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. And no doubt, guys, the DSLR is fantastic, but the photos from the Xiaomi 13 Ultra is very spot on. And even in night shots, I have to tell you that this thing here, this technology, is so much advanced, it beats the DSLR, if not mounted on a tripod, and probably not used by any pro guy. I'm no pro. But those are the good things. Now, let me tell you which are the bad things. The bad things are not as much. The skin tone and color tone of faces when shot on Xiaomi 13 Ultra come a bit weird. Sometimes they are just not so much realistic, and actually the Oppo Find X6 Pro was doing a better job with this. The other thing that is not important for me, but it might be important for you, is macro photography. It has an auto macro mode, which will actually switch from the ultra wide, but the shots are not that great. So what I'm usually doing I'm disabling it, guys, and I'm using the f1.9 to just get a very clear focus on my subject and allowing this natural bokeh around it. Still not that great as the Oppo Find X6 Pro, but those are things that are neglectable and can be very easily corrected when you're shooting with RAW. The main disadvantage is probably on the front camera. The HDR there is still a bit weird. It is absolutely not on par with what we see on the back cameras, and the front camera can only do 1080p. Now, I tested it with the MC24 Pro and I was able to get almost 4K, okay? It was like more like a 3K video from it. But overall, guys, if you want to understand more about the Xiaomi 13 Ultra camera, go watch all my videos. I have done a cinematic 10-bit log video, color graded with the Power Director. I did also a Dolby Vision video test. I did camera tests comparing the S23 Ultra, which is best in market, to the iPhone 14 Pro and to the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. So I shot all these videos before me doing this review right now to allow you to really dive deep if you're interested buying this product. So now allow me to do my final recap on the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. The global launch is imminent. It's very soon. And the price tag for this phone is going to be something like 1,499 euro, which is really a lot. But if you're buying this out of Wonder Mobile or Trading Genshin, importing it, you can probably only give something like 1,200 euro, which is still a very expensive price tag. But guys, you're getting this one-of-a-kind design which really resembles a proper camera. You get IP68 rating, you get this beautiful screen, although not so bright as they advertise, but you're gonna get also Dolby Vision, HDR10, and plus the speakers, guys. Dolby Atmos support, 5,000 mAh of a battery, which is amazing battery life. With this bigger screen, with a lot of heavy use, you still know you can go back from office or from work to your home and the phone is still gonna be with you. And you're also getting a top-notch performance. Although the phone might overheat a bit, still it will not drop operations, but it can be rather alarming. Selfie camera is not the best around, but if you can live without a selfie camera, if you just want to focus on the back camera, guys, then this phone will not disappoint you. So honestly, there are not a lot of cons with the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. MIUI 14 based on Android 13 is just great, and it deserves a whole standalone video. The animations are very snappy. There are no micro stutters, no micro lags as seen in One UI and the Samsung phones. And you're getting probably what is the most versatile, most dynamic camera system, with 3.2x optical zoom, 5x optical zoom, the 1-inch sensor with a dual aperture. Now, okay, you're not getting all the aperture modes like the Huawei P60 Pro, but alright, it has Google services, right? So the joke aside, guys, this phone has the chances to become one of the best Android phones specifically tailored for photography in the year of 2023. Overall package, probably still this Samsung will be a preferred choice for many of us, but the Xiaomi 13 Ultra is a very, very big, very serious contender to be the best phone for photography in 2023. So I really hope, guys, that you have enjoyed this video. Please go and watch all my other videos, the deep dives, the camera comparisons, the camera tests, the video tests, low light, daylight, extreme low light. The 1-inch sensor is actually already old news. It has been used in other phones in the past, but Xiaomi 13 Ultra is just taking this and putting this on the next level. And I even didn't scratch the top of the iceberg. Why? Because, guys, with the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, and the big community that is growing right now. There are a lot of people involved into modding Google Camera. And with Google Camera, with the mods and with the XML configurations, you're able to get even better images. So if you want to take your experience and elevate it to the next level, guys, you might as well join all the Telegram groups for the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. There are a lot of people that know things in and out, and this can help you to take even better shots. But what I'm saying is, for this full review, the auto stock camera will still do a decent job. If you want to use the best out of the stock camera, you might want to use Pro modes, right? Shoot in RAW and Ultra RAW. And if you want to take and elevate your experience to the next level, guys, try Google Camera. There are insane modes that really will crush the stock camera. And all this really is possible because of all the people that are buying this great device. So indeed, my final recap would be Xiaomi 13 Ultra is the best out of the best. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay safe. VST over and bye.